Welcome to today's Global Connections program. I'm Bill Miller. What is the World Peace Caravan? What is the caravan doing to bring together young people from Israel, Jordan, and other areas of the world to focus on issues such as climate change and poverty? We'll be back in just a moment to talk about these and other important issues. Welcome back to our program. Today we're taking a look at the World Peace Caravan, which is a really unique concept to involve young people in dealing with many of the contemporary problems that we're all confronted with. My guest today is an expert on the World Peace Caravan. My guest today is Ms. Susan Johnson. Susan Johnson is the Director of Operations for the World Peace Caravan 2015. Previously, Ms. Johnson was the CFO and COO of Communications Consultants. Susan Johnson, welcome to Global Connections Television.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I appreciate you being with me today. Susan, let's get right into the World Peace Caravan. What is it? When was it started? What do you hope to do with it?
The World Peace Caravan was actually a vision of a gentleman by the name of D. Gary Young. He had a dream, kept reoccurring, and it involved bringing people from around the world together to join a camel caravan similar to the one that the Queen of Sheba took to make peace with King Solomon, and give them the opportunity to travel together, break down barriers, learn about each other, and create seeds of world peace. The dream started probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and then we actually started the process of actually developing the caravan about 3.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon. Let's go back, 3,000 years, something
Absolutely.
like that, little ancient history. What exactly was the genesis of that story, and how did it evolve?
So, back in the time when the frankincense trail was very important, it was the major trade route of the Middle East. The Queen of Sheba actually took a 750 camel caravan to make peace with King Solomon, and she journeyed along the frankincense trail in order to do that.
Very good. And now the frankincense trail, where does it begin and where does it end? Or does it just kind of go in many directions through the desert?
It actually has a major trail that runs throughout the entire Middle East. It would start on the water where they would bring things in from Asia, the Middle East, from China and then travel spices, silks, and things up, and then they would bring things like frankincense and myrrh and resins back. There were many stops along the way, one of the big ones being Petra, Jordan, where the Treasury building is, which is our starting point for the World Peace Caravan.
What a beautiful place to start. It's idyllic. It is really a gorgeous, gorgeous area. Well, now, if our viewers would like, they could go to worldpeacecaravan.org, get more information about what we're talking about today.
That's correct.
All right, let's go back to Petra, Jordan. You're going to do this. This will be the latter part of the year. What will you have? What will be assembling in Petra, Jordan? How many people, how many camels, donkeys, horses, whatever you're using for transportation? What will happen when you get ready for your trek along through the desert?
Sure, and the world is invited, so anyone is welcome to participate.
So we can all go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We love, the more people the better. The caravan will actually start on December 15th in Petra, Jordan. We'll actually tour Petra, and then we'll go to our campsite. You are camping and also staying in hotels. There's a blend of both. On the night of the 15th, we'll have a grand send-off celebration. We'll have a band, entertainment, dignitaries, and then the caravan actually marches out on December 16th. We'll head out by camel, horse. In Israel, we'll actually also have donkeys, and people can walk on foot. The caravan trail has already been set. We'll travel up over a mountain the first day to the first stopping point. Each night there'll be campfire entertainment, there'll be education, we'll have guides on the way, multilingual guides, so that we can work with people from all over the world. And again, it's the opportunity to travel with people that you might normally not get to meet in a part of the world that's just so full of history. We'll travel for 5 nights. We'll hit the Dead Sea. We have the World Peace and Health Conference, 3 nights. We will move over into Israel. We'll travel for 2 nights there by horse, donkey, and camel, and then finish up in Jerusalem for the World Peace Concert.
When you were describing setting up for the caravan, several things came to mind. The first that came to mind is logistics. How do you, in the world, do you bring together all these camels and modes of transportation, not to mention the players, the participants, in this one spot, and mobilize them and move them across through the trail, but also still provide basic amenities that they're definitely going to need?
Absolutely. It has been a really interesting logistical process. We have teams both in Jordan and in Israel, and also working in the Palestine Authority. We've been working with tents, sleeping bags, porta potties, showers, bus transportation. So people will have the opportunity each day to travel, and then if they get tired, they can opt off and be taken back to the campsite, the next campsite. There will be showers, porta potties, we'll have food catered in, they'll carry a bagged lunch. So we've really thought of all the different logistics that would go along with traveling.
It sounds like you have. Yes. Another thing that comes to mind too is, I mean, there are many dangerous areas of the world. The Middle East is obviously one of them, which is unfortunate. But by the same token, security has to be a major issue. What are you doing in this particular area as far as making sure that everybody is safe who wants to participate in the caravan?
Yeah, we've worked really hard with security. Obviously, most people, that's their biggest concern. What's the security like? For those people who have not traveled there, both Jordan, Israel, and the Palestine Authority, these areas are heavy tourist areas. So the security there is very good, it's very peaceful. And then we're working with each country. In Israel, we're working with the International Security and Defense Systems. They are our provider over there, very knowledgeable. They're working with the governments. And then in Jordan, we're also working with the military, the tourism police, the border police, some of the retired services that they have over there to make sure, as well as the governments. Obviously, it's really important that they know what we're doing. So we're working with each one of the governments to say, this is what we're doing, we'd like your blessing, you know, looking for the patronage from the royal court. We've gotten the letters from the Department of Tourism in Israel, and also working with the Palestine Authority. It's very important. Security is number one.
Exactly, most assuredly. Now, personally, I've never heard of this type of activity. Is this the first time this has been undertaken, or has it been done in the past?
This is the first one, so we are making history.
Trailblazing.
We are trailblazing. It's obviously been one of the fun things about it. It's also one of the challenges. It's not been done before, but we've had amazing response. People are really excited about it. The countries are excited about it. It's a chance to truly show off what the beauty of Jordan, of Israel, of the Palestine Authority, Bethlehem, Jericho. I mean, there's some beautiful spots, and many people are a little nervous about traveling. So now you can do it in an organized fashion.
In a safe way.
In a safe way.
Exactly.
And in a unique way.
That's very true. So people can go to worldpeacecaravan.org. Now, you'll be doing video, you may be doing streaming video. I'm not sure exactly what you have planned. You'll have videos afterwards. It'll be on your website. Do you hope to pull in a lot of the media? I'm sure you'll get the media from Israel, from Jordan, from some of the neighboring countries, what have you, maybe from where the students are from, that type of thing. But do you hope to get other forms of media attention to show what you're doing and to show a very unique program that can help promote world peace and raise money for very worthy projects?
Absolutely. We've contacted all the major networks, working with many of them. Some are waiting for us to announce who our big act is in Jerusalem, which we hope to announce within a short amount of time. Yeah, we'd love them. We also know social media will play a big part of that. Today's world, anybody that works social media, you can get things out immediately. So we're hoping that we'll have a large social media contingent as well. But the goal is to have people on the caravan live streaming it so that people can watch it, and particularly at the World Peace Conference. We have some amazing speakers that will speak there, and our goal is to be able to get that out to people while we're there. What more can you ask for than to have a conference full of peacemakers?
Exactly, right. And that's probably the most elusive thing we're facing today, outside of climate change, maybe. Climate change may be a little more difficult to get our arms around at this point, but peace, world peace, is just so critical, and we see that there are many flashpoints in the world. Now, you also want to have an international ceasefire, do you not? Are you not focusing
Correct.
On doing that to get belligerents, wherever they may be at any point in the part of the world, involved in shutting down the war machine for one day or maybe longer?
Actually, we're looking for the world to join in signing our ceasefire petition. We'd like to present it to the United Nations. We'd like 1 million signatures. So if people would go to worldpeacecaravan.org, scroll down to the bottom of the web page, front page, and sign our ceasefire petition, we'd appreciate it. And it's asking the world to hold a ceasefire while we travel on the World Peace Caravan. Our founder, Gary Young, knows that if we can get that done, then maybe we could get people to do it a little longer or another time. You know, that ceasefire is really huge, but it's a very important part of what we're doing is to get those signatures so we can present and look for a ceasefire.
And it's amazing how peace can become contagious. It can become infectious in that if you're not killing one another, you can be doing other things that can actually be more productive. Now, one of the first items that you mentioned was the Peace and Health Conference. What exactly will that be, and who will be involved in that?
So the World Peace and Health Conference will start on December 20th. It's on the Dead Sea in Jordan. It's at the beautiful, beautiful Bin El Talal King Hussein Convention Center. Many of the United Nations meetings have been held there. Beautiful. The world again is invited, and you can come just to the conference. You don't have to do the entire caravan in order to join in. We have speakers from around the world who are focusing on where world peace is today, the role of women in peacekeeping. We know that women are really becoming the peacekeepers of the world. It'll be how sustainability and health affects world peace, and finally, how our youth affect world peace. The World Peace Caravan really has a high focus on the young of today. They're doing amazing things, and our goal is to bring them together so that they can show the world what they're doing and learn from the people who are our peacekeepers today.
And you're absolutely correct. Young people especially have we all have a stake in what's going on in the world, but they're the ones who are really going to shape the future. They're the ones who are going to inherit the present to a large degree, and they really need to be actively involved in this. How did you do your outreach to bring in young people, to get them involved, to tell them what you were doing, and to solicit their input and perhaps their involvement in this caravan?
Yeah. So the World Peace Caravan has a youth ambassador program. We actually sent out all over the world to everybody that we knew an invitation for young people to write in and become one of our 12 youth ambassadors. We selected 12 because it was our first time. We thought 12 would be a good number. And we actually are running a year-long program based off of some of the Millennium Development Goals and soon-to-be Sustainable Goals. So the 12 youth ambassadors submitted. We had probably, 40, 50, 100 submissions from around the world. We selected the top candidates. They come from 10 different countries, including Uganda, Kenya, Mongolia, Honduras, Guatemala. And they are now part of our World Peace Caravan Youth Ambassador Program. They will not only do the year-long program, but they'll also travel with us on the caravan and with everybody, and also speak at the World Peace and Health Conference.
Well, you're watching Global Connections Television, which is an independently produced program. The opinions expressed on Global Connections are solely those of the moderator and his guest. If our viewers would like, we would encourage them to go to www.globalconnectionstelevision.com and comment on this program, or check out some of our previous programs, or even better, make suggestions for future topics and future guests. Today we're looking at the World Peace Caravan and the very unique concept that is going to bring together some young people from Israel, from Jordan, and from other areas of the world to focus attention on major issues that are confronting all of us. My guest today is an expert on the World Peace Caravan. My guest today is Susan Johnson. Susan Johnson is the Director of Operations for the World Peace Caravan 2015. Susan, we're talking about the young people and what you would like to do with them. Now, have you met each of the ambassadors, the youth ambassadors, and talked to them? I would imagine that must be a really uplifting, inspirational experience to hear about their unique stories. I'm sure they're all great. Are there one or two that really come to mind that just kind of jump out and will always be with you for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. We've actually all met by Skype. I've met some of them in person, but they do come from all over the world, and they are very inspiring. Just listening to their stories, we have someone like Tony from Guatemala, who is part of a corporation that builds homes for the homeless. Amazing work. This year they plan to build 600 homes, which when you talk about putting people in a much better place, it's great. We have people like Anam in Pakistan. Anam's a wonderful girl. She's working on the voices within Pakistan, trying to give the people of Pakistan a voice because they're often misunderstood, based on where they are in the world. And she's been wonderful after the first meeting of all the group together, because they speak together 4 times a month. She said that her heart was melting because she felt that other people around the world really cared about who she was. So stories like that are just so uplifting, and to know that they're doing things. Each one of our youth ambassadors has to do a project either in their own country or another country based on the Millennium or Sustainable Goal that they're working on. So they're also doing great things in the world before we leave.
Exactly. And on your website, you have video of Tony de la Roca. And I remember his in particular. He's in Guatemala, and he's working with El Techo, the roof program, and really doing some great work as far as getting housing for many indigenous people in that area of the world, is he not?
He is. He's a great guy. He actually led our January program. He talked about Guatemala, he talked about what he's doing, and his goal is actually eradicating poverty and hunger, and building his homes is a big portion of that. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. I really encourage everyone to check it out.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, and of course, the original goals, the original 8, were formed in 2000. They ran through 2015, 8 logical, practical, measurable goals to reduce abject poverty by 50%, to promote universal primary school education, to empower women, and 5 more that we won't go into. But now the new ones are the Sustainable Development Goals, and they're going to be an extension of the 8 and involve many other areas too. How will you bring these students in? We talked about poverty reduction, of course, what Tony is doing and some others, but how will you also involve some of these other students, and even after the caravan is over, to get that message out to other young people around the world that they have a role to play as far as empowering women or reducing poverty or promoting universal primary school education or combating climate change, which is probably the #1 issue.
It's huge. So the World Peace Caravan actually has a couple of different layers. We have our youth ambassadors. We also have our junior youth ambassadors, who are led by Jacob Young. The junior youth ambassadors will focus on creating 4 turnkey programs that will go up on the website that anyone can go and do it in their own community. So that if there are activities, after school activities or Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or whatever, will be able to go and download that program and do something in their own community based on that sustainable goal. So it's a way to, again, get that out even farther. And they'll be encouraged to send back their videos to us. So we'll engage them that way. Our youth ambassadors are also engaging people all over the world in their projects. So we're really trying to spread that out there. And the last thing is that we found that we had so many people interested, we've actually created a social media correspondent team, again, of youth from around the world that didn't make it as an ambassador but wanted to be a part. They're also running projects around the world and are involved in our phone calls and all that on the back of the website, so that they can do projects around the world.
So you've got a lot of irons in the fire. You're going to have a lot of fires going, and so you're going to involve a lot of folks in this. Now, one of your main goals is to raise $5 million for a variety of humanitarian projects, and of course that would come through donations. You're a 501c3 organization. Correct. So people can donate. It's tax deductible. They can also participate in the caravan. Are you still working on the projects now that you're thinking about doing in the future, or do you have some of them locked in? We
do have some of them that are almost locked in. We're working on the memorandums of understanding. We are working with separate countries, so we have to make sure that everything's put into place. We've talked with an orphanage in Jordan. We've talked with a youth group in Palestine Authority. We are talking with the Perez Center in Israel, and many of the foundations. Shimon Perez, yes, okay. Wonderful man. And some of the different nonprofits that he works with and the outreach he does. He does amazing outreach. We're also working with some here in the United States that have touches in Africa or in South America. So yeah, but we are still looking, absolutely.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great, and anyone, we encourage anyone to drop into our website. You can make a donation. We are looking for sponsors, and again, signing our ceasefire petition, or liking us on Facebook, of course. That's always an important
That's right.
thing.
Social media, very important.
Social media, very
That's
important.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Concert for Peace. When is that going to take place? You're probably still working on some of the acts and that type of thing, but where will it be? Who can be involved? And can we watch it through live streaming?
Absolutely.
To all the above.
Of course, all the above. So the World Peace Concert will be held on December 26th. It's in the new Pi Arena in downtown Jerusalem. Beautiful, beautiful new building. It will hold about between 8,000 and 9,000 people. We have contacted many of the biggest bands and performers around the world. We hope to lock that in. We don't want to make any announcements until we have that done. We hope to do that real soon. And the concert will last somewhere between probably 2.5 to 3 hours. The tickets will go on sale. Anybody can come. Obviously, if you're on the caravan, you will be a part of that, our youth ambassadors. And our goal is to really involve some of the youth around the world, again, some of our own youth ambassadors, as well as a team called the Amala Foundation out of Texas, who has students from around the world who play instruments, get them involved in the concert. We also have a social media campaign where we will put out a competition where people can submit a video or of themselves, and they can go on the website within a week to check that out, where they will actually perform at the concert as well. So very exciting.
It certainly is, most assuredly. Now, would you like to institutionalize this? I'm assuming this is going to go very well. You'll get a lot of participation, but would you like to make it maybe an annual event or every 6 months? I don't know if logistics would allow that, or
I don't know if my heart
or
could handle every 6 months.
or if your husband would allow it. But anyway, just kidding, just kidding about that. But it is a tremendous undertaking. But would you like to continue it and have more opportunities in the future to do this and maybe even look beyond this and some other type of very unique initiative?
Absolutely. When we first came into it, it was obviously with the mind of getting the first one off the ground. As we did it, we realized the potential for this to do something even greater going forward. So we have talked about, maybe doing another one in 2 years. And everything we've done, we've set up so that we can accomplish that. Making sure that we know what we've done, taking notes, making contacts. And what's really interesting is many people have said to us, we'd like to see the first one go. We'd love to see the second one go. So we'd like to encourage those people that would like to do it the second time to come to the first time. But yes, we would like to do it again if we can. And really leave a legacy.
Exactly, right. And this is a type of event that you will learn a lot from it. If you did it again, you would obviously build upon the successes the first time around and move into the second operation. Do you have, speaking of the future, do you have any other activities that you mentioned? This came during a dream, I believe, as you mentioned, and the person who created this, is there something else that's looming over the horizon, like a year or two from now, that you're looking at doing, or is it something you can talk about today, or maybe you would rather wait?
Yeah, I think we'll wait. I think we'll wait, just to get through the first one. But when you talked about that dream, what was interesting is that when they went to Jordan the first time to talk about it, they met with a senator there. And the senator said to Gary Young, "We've met before." And he said, "No, we haven't." And they kind of went back and forth. The senator took a call. His eyes opened up, and he came back and he said, "I know why you're here. You're coming here because you want to run a camel caravan in Jordan. I saw you in a dream."
Really? My goodness.
Yes. So that's really interesting. So when you talk about dreams and making them come true, you never know.
Exactly, yes. Well, now, I know the logistics has been a challenge, obviously. Security, obviously, is a concern. What, as you look at what's gone on up to this point, what is one of the other major challenges that you've run into as far as bringing it all together? And again, this is a humongous undertaking.
I think keeping it all coordinated, making sure that all the steps, obviously you've got the 4 pillars, the 4 components, you've got the caravan, the concert, the conference, and the youth ambassadors, making sure that we're all on the same page, making sure that we're all working in the same direction. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges. It is a big goal, there's a lot going on, but I have to tell you, it's been really fun to do. We've really had some great response. We have a fabulous team. The team that I work with is unbelievable. They are dedicated, they are passionate, and they have really amazing reach. They've done an amazing job of bringing in many other nonprofits, bringing in speakers, bringing in talent, the people that we've spoken with. I've had the opportunity to, again, meet people like Shimon Peres, meet people like the Dalai Lama. It's been fabulous.
I can well imagine, yes. Now, we've talked about poverty reduction. We've talked about the empowering women. The one that we've sort of touched upon tangentially a little is climate change. And many people believe this is the #1 challenge confronting all 7.3 billion people on planet Earth, because we see the glaciers are melting, we see the seas are rising, desertification is taking place. These are actually happening. These are very negative climatic consequences. Are there going to be special events to focus on climate change, to bring it into the discussion? I know some of the students, your youth ambassadors, are probably interested in that, but are you going to try to really drive this point home that of all the problems we're dealing with, this may be the most important to everybody, not just the people in that caravan?
And what's interesting is that both of our youth ambassadors that focused on, now we had 6 Sustainable Millennium Development Goals, so each one is being focused on twice, 2 youth ambassadors. Both youth ambassadors that are working with the sustainable goal chose to work with water. Very interesting. One of the gals is from Mongolia, and one of the gals is from Honduras. And we just did a huge program with a gal from Mongolia who talked about desertification and the fact that water is, evaporating, and that it really is having a heavy impact on her country. So yes, and when we bring them to the World Peace and Health Conference, we will focus on that, and they will have a say in that. Absolutely. Sustainability is huge, especially I think water is one of those things that people will fight over. Our goal is to find a way to make sure that that doesn't happen.
And they are right today. That's exactly what's happening. We see droughts occurring in just about every place of the world, come right down to it in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of the analysts have said that water will be the petroleum, will be the oil of the 21st century, because it is a finite resource and it's disappearing. And we have more of a burgeoning population, more demand for water. And this is really a major issue that they're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, and clean water, not
Clean
only just
water,
water,
right.
but clean water. You know, some people have water, but it's not clean. So absolutely, you know, and I think a lot of people believe that world peace is all about laying down arms. World peace goes much farther than that. You know, world peace is poverty, it is education, it is empowering women, it is sustainability. So having people working on these goals and creating those seeds that will grow up later with the youth community is very important, because these are the issues they will tackle.
Exactly, that's very true. And as you mentioned, peace is not just an absence of conflict. You have to have that. You have to have that undergirding, the foundation that allow people to reach their full potential, that really allow them to have clean water, to be educated, and to not have to worry about where their income is coming from, or if they're going to have health insurance. There's so many different components that go into making sure that peace exists and that you have harmonious relationships with the people around you, because you can't develop in a war zone. It's
right.
very, very difficult to do. But the World Peace Caravan is certainly doing a great job on this. And Susan Johnson, I want to thank you so very much for a very interesting and a very informative program.
It.
Thank you. I'm Bill Miller. Thank you for joining us on today's Global Connections program.